The mansion stood on a lonely hill, tall and wide like a sleeping giant. Most people in the city whispered about it. They said a dragon lived there, a real one, not a hologram, not a story, but a true ancient dragon who was rich enough to buy half the planet. People also said he never let anyone near him. He only hired staff who never looked him in the eyes and never asked questions. But today, a new maid arrived. Her name was Mira. She was young, quiet, and carried only a small bag. The guards let her in after checking her ID twice. They looked nervous, as if they were sending her into a place no one should go. Mira didn't understand why. She had worked in difficult homes before. Rich people like silence and order. She thought this job would be no different. The front door opened with a soft sound, and she stepped into a huge hallway. Everything was spotless but lifeless. No warmth, no sound, no footsteps. Only the soft echo of her shoes on the shiny floor. She looked around and took a slow breath. A tall woman with silver hair walked toward her. She moved like a machine, precise, cold, and perfect. "You must be Mira," the woman said. "I am Selra, the head of staff. Follow me." Mira followed her down long hallways with high ceilings. Strange paintings hung on the walls. Some showed stars she didn't recognize. Some showed dragons in shapes she had never seen before. There were carvings of claws, wings, and gold. It almost felt like a museum. Selra spoke without turning around. "Your job is simple. Clean the east wing. Stay quiet. Do not disturb the master unless he speaks to you first." Mira nodded. "Yes, of course." "The master values silence," Selra added. "Do not attempt small talk. Do not look directly at him for too long. It makes him uncomfortable." Mira swallowed. "All right." Selra gave her a sharp look. "This mansion is not like others. Everything here is old and important. Do your work with care." Mira agreed again, though she wondered why a billionaire needed such strict rules. She started her work soon after. The east wing wasn't small. It was bigger than the entire apartment building she grew up in. There were golden railings, velvet curtains, a grand piano no one touched, and a long balcony that showed the whole city like a glowing map. Even with all its beauty, the place felt empty. No laughter, no footsteps, no warmth, only the low hum of machines hidden in the walls. As she cleaned, she sometimes heard soft scraping sounds from above, or the gentle beat of something heavy, like slow wings moving far away. She tried not to think about it. While dusting a shelf, she found small toys, tiny wooden figures with smiling faces. One looked like a young dragon with little wings. Another looked like a boy. She wondered why these were here. The mansion did not feel like a home with children. It felt too quiet, too cold. When she finished the east wing, she moved toward the indoor garden. The moment she stepped inside, she froze. There, near a tall crystal fountain, stood the master, a dragon, a real dragon. He was large, almost filling the space, with dark scales that shimmered like black glass. His wings were folded neatly against his back. His golden eyes glowed softly in the dim garden light. Myra's heart jumped. She had never seen a dragon in her life, except in stories. This one looked ancient and powerful. He could crush the fountain with one foot if he wanted. She remembered Selra's warning. Do not look directly at him for too long. So Mira quickly looked down. "Good afternoon, sir," she said softly, hoping her voice didn't shake. The dragon didn't move at first. He only watched her with calm, unreadable eyes. Then he spoke, and his voice was deep and warm, like slow thunder. "You are the new maid." "Yes, sir." "You are not afraid?" She hesitated. Her hands felt cold. "A little," she admitted, "but I will do my job." For a moment, she thought she saw the faintest smile in his eyes, though dragons didn't smile like humans. "Do your work," he said gently. "Do not fear me." She bowed her head and began cleaning the garden carefully, her hand steady even though her heart was not. The dragon watched her for a while, then turned and walked toward a hidden room behind the fountain. His tail brushed the ground softly, leaving long marks in the dirt path. When he left, the air felt lighter. Mira took a long breath and wiped sweat from her forehead. She looked around the garden again and noticed something strange. There were small footprints next to the fountain. They were not dragon prints. They looked like the footprints of a child. But she had not seen any child. She shook the thought away and finished her work. As she walked back to her small room for the night, she felt something change inside the mansion. The silence no longer felt empty. It felt like it was hiding stories of dragons, secrets, and maybe something broken that needed fixing. She didn't know it yet, but her arrival had already started a shift in the great house. Something old was waking, something lonely, something that had been silent for too long. And Mira was now part of it. Mira woke early the next morning, expecting another quiet day of cleaning. She put on her uniform, tied her hair, and walked through the long halls of the mansion. Everything was still silent. The air felt heavy, like the house never woke up fully. She reached the east wing and started dusting. She worked slowly and carefully, remembering every rule. No loud noise, no sudden movements, no questions. She thought it would be another normal day, but then Selra appeared beside her without warning. "The master asked for you," Selra said. Mira froze. "Me? Why?" Selra did not answer. Her face stayed cold. "Come." Mira followed her through unfamiliar hallways until they reached a tall door made of dark metal. Selra opened it and motioned her inside. "The master is waiting," she said before walking away. Mira stepped in. The room was wide and bright, with soft gold lights shining from the ceiling. There was a polished wooden floor, almost like a dance studio. She blinked, confused. Then she heard a deep voice behind her. "You are here." Mira turned and saw the dragon, Draven, the billionaire master, sitting in a huge cushioned seat that must have been custom-made for his size. His dark scales glowed under the lights. "Yes, sir," she said softly. "How may I help?" Draven exhaled slowly, almost like a sigh. "I need you to teach someone to dance." Mira stared at him. "A dance?" "Yes." She looked around again. The polished floor, the open space. It made sense now. But why her? She was a maid, not a dance teacher. "Sir, I'm not sure I understand." Draven looked away for a moment. His golden eyes softened, but only a little. "There is someone important to me," he said quietly. "He must learn a simple human dance for a formal event. But he has not spoken to the staff. He refuses to practice. You are new. He might listen to you." Mira hesitated. "Who is he?" Draven's tail moved slightly behind him, like a sign of discomfort. "My son," he said. Myra's eyes widened. "Son? A dragon billionaire had a son? And she had never seen him?" Her mind went back to the tiny footprints near the fountain. Now, they made sense. "I will try," she said. "Where is he?" Draven tapped a button on a small device. The door on the far side of the room opened slowly. A boy stepped out. He looked about 10 years old, with messy dark hair and bright golden eyes. Dragon eyes. His clothes were neat but wrinkled, like he had fought with them before putting them on. He stayed near the door, watching Mira like she was a strange insect. "This is Aaron," Draven said. "Aaron, this is Mira." Aaron didn't speak. He only blinked once. Mira smiled gently. "Hello, Aaron." He stared at her shoes, then at her hands, then back at the floor. Draven spoke again, his voice softer than before. "Mira will teach you the basic human dance. You only need to follow her steps." "I don't want to," Aaron muttered. It was the first time he spoke, and his voice was sharp. "It's stupid." Draven's eyes narrowed. "It is necessary." Aaron turned away. Human dances look silly. They move too much. Their arms look weird. Mira bit back a smile. He wasn't wrong. Some dances were strange. She knelt down so she could speak at his level. "It doesn't have to be silly. I can teach you a very easy one. Just small steps. No big moves." Aaron peeked at her. "Small." "Yes, very small." He hesitated, then took a tiny step forward. "Show me." Mira stood and demonstrated a simple slow box step. For small moves, nothing complicated. Aaron watched closely, his eyes glowing brighter as he focused. "Your turn," she said. Aaron tried. His steps were stiff and awkward. His arms stayed straight like sticks. He moved like a tiny robot. Mira bit her lip to stop herself from laughing. "That's good," she said, "but relax a little." "How do I relax?" he asked, confused. "Just breathe." That doesn't make sense. She wasn't sure how to explain it, so she simply placed her hands gently on his shoulders. Like this. Soft, not tight. Aaron lifted his shoulders, suddenly, surprised. "No one touches me," he said softly. Mira pulled her hands back quickly. "I'm sorry." Aaron shook his head. No, it felt strange, but not bad. He tried again. This time his arms loosened a little. Draven watched silently, his expression unreadable. As the lesson continued, Aaron began copying her more easily. He followed her steps, even though he looked embarrassed every time he made a mistake. Mira encouraged him every time he tried. When she showed him how humans sometimes hold hands during a dance, Aaron almost panicked. "No, I don't want to." "It's only for the dance," she said gently. Just for a moment, he looked over at Draven. The dragon nodded once, slowly. Aaron swallowed hard, then held out his small hand. His palm was warm and trembling. Mira took it gently, and they moved in slow circles. Aaron blinked up at her. "You don't think I look stupid?" "No," she said. "I think you look brave." His golden eyes softened. "Oh." For the first time, he smiled, a small, shy smile that lit up his whole face. Draven shifted in his seat. His deep voice filled the room. "That is enough for today." Aaron let go of her hand quickly, almost embarrassed by how much he enjoyed the lesson. Thank you," he whispered before running out through the door he came from. Mira watched him go, surprised by how attached she felt already. Draven stood slowly, towering over her. "You did well," he said. "Thank you, sir." He looked toward the door where Aaron had left. "My son has been alone for a long time. Today was the first time he stayed in a room with someone new for more than a minute." Mira felt warmth in her chest. "He's a good child. He just needs patience." Draven looked at her, and for once, there was no coldness in his eyes, only something tired and old, something like hope. "Continue the lessons," he said quietly. "He trusts you more than anyone else." Mira nodded. "Yes, sir." As she left the room, she felt something new settle in the mansion. Not silence, not emptiness, but the first fragile sign of change. Mira returned to the dance room the next day with a soft smile. She wondered if Aaron would run again or hide behind the door like before. She hoped he would feel a bit more comfortable this time. The polished floor shone under the warm lights, just like yesterday, and the air felt calm. She didn't expect anyone else to be there, but Draven stood near the window with his arms crossed. His dark scales glowed faintly, and his large wings were tucked close. He looked like he had been waiting. "You are early," Mira said softly. "So are you," Draven replied. His voice was calm today, not sharp. She nodded. "I just wanted to make sure the room is ready." He studied her for a moment. "You worry too much." "I just want to do my job well," she said. Draven's eyes narrowed slightly, not in anger but in thought. "You do more than your job." Before Mira could ask what he meant, the side door opened and Aaron stepped in. Today he wasn't hiding. He came in slowly, but he came in on his own. His golden eyes found Mira first. "Are we dancing again?" he asked. "Yes," she said with a smile. "Only if you want to." "I want to learn the last part you showed," he said. "The turning thing. I kept thinking about it." Draven raised his brow at his son, surprised. Mira hid a small laugh behind her hand. "So," Mira said, "let's try it." They started with simple steps. Aaron watched Mira carefully, copying her movements. His steps were still a little stiff, but better than yesterday. He even lifted his arms naturally during the turn. "Good," she said. "You're improving so fast." Aaron looked proud, but tried to hide it. "It's because you explain in a way I understand. Other people talk too fast." "Or they talk too fancy?" she asked. He nodded quickly. "Yes." She stepped back and prepared to show the next part. But Draven suddenly spoke. Mira, he said, why do you help him so easily? She blinked. Because he needs it, and because he listens. That is not what I mean, Draven said quietly. You do not fear him. Mira looked between father and son. Aaron frowned a little, unsure if he had done something wrong. Why would I fear him? Mira asked. Draven studied her like she was a strange puzzle. Most humans fear my kind. Even more, they fear the children. They think our young ones cannot control their instincts. Aaron went stiff, as if the words hurt him. Mira took a slow breath. She didn't want Aaron to feel attacked. He is just a child, she said softly, and he is trying. Draven's eyes softened, but only slightly. Trying is not always enough. Aaron looked at the floor. His small hands curled into fists. I'm not dangerous, he whispered. Mira went down on one knee beside him. I don't think you are, she said. Aaron lifted his eyes slowly. His golden irises trembled. Everyone else does. Mira put a gentle hand near his shoulder, not touching this time, waiting for his permission. When Aaron nodded, she touched his shoulder lightly. You are learning. You are kind. And you work hard. That is not dangerous. Aaron blinked fast. Try not to cry. Draven looked away, his jaw tight. Mira stood again and said, let's take a small break. Aaron sat on the floor and stretched his legs. Mira moved to the side table to bring water. When she came back, she handed Aaron the bottle, and he drank happily. Draven watched them closely. Something heavy sat in his expression. He seemed to be thinking very hard. Mira, he said finally, there is something you should know. Mira paused. What is it, sir? He walked toward her, the floor shaking slightly under his steps. Aaron looked up quickly, but didn't seem scared, just curious. Draven stopped only a foot away, towering over her. My son is not only a dragon child, he said slowly. He is different. Aaron froze. Father, it is time, Draven said firmly. She deserves the truth. Mira waited quietly. Draven's voice dropped lower. Aaron is half human. Mira felt her breath catch. Half human. She looked at the boy again, at the soft shape of his face, the human-like hair, the small hands that were not claws, the emotions he showed so openly. Suddenly everything made sense. The mansion silence. Draven's strict rules. The hidden footsteps. The loneliness. Aaron watched her nervously, waiting for her reaction. You're half like me? Mira asked. Aaron nodded slowly. Everyone hates it. They say it's wrong. Mira shook her head gently. It's not wrong. Draven looked surprised by how quickly she answered. It is rare, he said. Some call it a mistake. Mira stepped closer to Aaron. It is not a mistake. It's special. Aaron's eyes widened. Special? Yes. You can understand humans and dragons. Both sides. That makes you stronger, not weaker. Aaron's lips trembled. Then he whispered, I hoped you would say that. Draven watched them with an unreadable expression. Part relief, part fear, part something softer. How did your mother look? Mira asked gently. Aaron smiled a little. Like a human. Like you. Draven looked away again, pain flickering in his eyes. Mira didn't push. It was clear the memory hurt him. Is this why you keep him hidden? She asked softly. Draven nodded once. To protect him, both from my enemies and from humans who fear what they do not understand. Mira looked at Aaron and then at Draven. He doesn't need hiding, she said quietly. He needs someone who sees him. Draven stared at her for a long moment. Then he said, That is why you are here. Mira felt her heart beat faster. She didn't know what he meant, but she knew everything was changing. Aaron stood suddenly and grabbed her hand. His small fingers were warm and sure. Can we finish the dance? He asked. I want to show Father I can do it. Mira smiled. Of course. They moved to the center of the room. Aaron lifted his chin with new confidence. Draven watched from the side, his eyes softer than they had ever been. Truth had been revealed. Masks had fallen. And now, for the first time, they felt like a family beginning to form. The next morning began quiet. almost too quiet for such a large mansion. Mira walked down the hall with a light heart, thinking about how well Aaron had danced the day before. She even hummed softly as she headed toward the training room. But halfway down the corridor, she stopped. Something felt wrong. The air was colder, and the walls seemed to vibrate with a faint hum. She turned slowly, listening. There were no footsteps, no distant voices, not even workers cleaning or guards patrolling. The mansion felt empty or frozen. Then a sharp boom echoed from somewhere outside. Mira jumped. Another boom followed, closer, louder, like something heavy crashing to the outer walls. She ran toward Aaron's room without thinking, her steps fast and careful at the same time. Before she reached the door, Draven appeared from the opposite side of the hallway. His wings were partly open, his eyes glowing bright gold. "Mira!" he called, his voice deep and urgent. "Stay close to me." "What's happening?" she asked, breathless. "The mansion is under attack." Her heart dropped. By who? But Draven didn't answer. He didn't need to. The next crash spoke for him. Aaron's door burst open as the young dragon rushed out. He was shaking, but his eyes were fierce. "Father, there are soldiers outside. They have machines." Draven grabbed Aaron and shielded him with one wing. "Don't look," he ordered. "Stay behind me." Mira swallowed hard. "Who are they?" Draven's voice was low and cold. "Enemies from the outer trade sectors. They have been waiting for a chance to strike. They want what I own, and they want Aaron." Aaron grabbed Myra's sleeve with trembling fingers. "Why me?" "Because you are special," Draven said, "and they fear what they do not understand." Another explosion shook the walls, sending dust raining from the ceiling. Mira stepped closer. "What do we do? How can I help?" Draven studied her for a split second, then made a decision. "You stay with Aaron. I will push back the attackers." Mira shook her head. "No, you can't face them alone." "I must." Aaron clung to his father's arm. "You can't leave us." Draven knelt, so he could look his son in the eyes. "I will not leave you. I will return, but I must protect you both. Stay together. Listen to Mira." Aaron nodded, but tears filled his eyes. Draven stood again, wings spreading. His aura grew brighter, sharper, filling the hallway with a warm but dangerous heat. Then the mansion doors blew inward somewhere far down the hall, and many heavy footsteps rushed inside. The attackers were coming. Draven looked at Mira one last time. "Keep him safe. I trust you." And then, with a burst of wind and light, he flew down the hall toward the danger. Mira grabbed Aaron's hand. "Come on. We need to hide." Aaron followed her through the hallway, his claws tapping the floor nervously. Mira pulled him into a storage room where tall cabinets lined the walls. It was dark and dusty, but safe enough for the moment. Aaron's breathing shook. "Mira, I'm scared." She squeezed his hand. "I am too, but we will be okay." Outside, they heard shouting, metal hitting stone, and the crackling sound of Draven's power. The attackers yelled commands, their voices cold and harsh. "Locate the hybrid child. Secure the girl." Mira froze when she heard that. "They know about me," she whispered. Aaron looked up at her, fear wide in his eyes. "Why?" Mira didn't know. Maybe they thought she was important to Draven. Maybe they wanted to use her as bait. Whatever the reason, they were in danger, and hiding would not keep them safe for long. The footsteps grew closer. "We have to move," Mira whispered. They slipped out the back door of the storage room and hurried through a narrow corridor. Aaron walked as quietly as he could, but Mira could feel how terrified he was. When they reached the kitchen, she stopped again. The windows were broken, letting cold wind sweep inside. The attackers were already in the garden. "Mira," Aaron whispered, gripping her hand tighter, "Father's in trouble." She turned to him. "How do you know?" "I can feel it," he said. "Our bond hurts." Mira knelt down and held his shoulders. "Listen, we will help him, but we must be smart." A shadow moved outside the kitchen window. Mira dragged Aaron behind a counter right as two armored soldiers stepped inside with heavy boots and guns glowing with blue light. "Search in pairs," one said. The child was seen running this way. Aaron trembled as their footsteps came closer. Mira put her hand on his mouth gently, helping him stay quiet. The soldiers walked only a few steps from where they hid. Nothing here. Move, one said. When they left, Mira let out a slow breath. We can't keep running, she said softly. We need to find Draven. Aaron nodded, wiping his eyes. I can help him. My power is small, but I can help. Mira was scared. Aaron was just a child. But she also knew something important. Dragons fought best when they were not alone. Okay, she said. Stay close. No matter what happens. They hurried toward the main hall, where the sounds of fighting were loudest. Sparks of light flashed down the hall as they approached. Draven was there, hurt, wings damaged, still fighting against many soldiers alone. Aaron's breath hitched. Father! Mira grabbed him. Wait, don't run in yet. But it was too late. Draven saw them at the same moment the attackers did, and the danger that followed forced Mira, Aaron, and Draven into a fight none of them were ready for. The main hall shook with every strike. Draven was surrounded, wings torn, breath short, but he still stood between the attackers and his son. Bright sparks flashed as he swung his tail and shielded himself with his wings. The soldiers kept coming, their machines humming with cold blue light. Mira and Aaron moved closer, their steps quiet but fast. Aaron held her hand tightly, his small claws shaking. When one of the soldiers turned toward them, Mira pushed Aaron behind a fallen pillar and stepped in front of him without thinking. The soldier raised his weapon. But before he could fire, Draven roared, a deep, powerful sound that made the whole hall tremble. He rushed forward, knocked the soldier aside with one massive wing, and stood between Mira and the attackers. You will not touch them, he growled. More soldiers advanced. Draven tried to strike again, but his strength was fading. His wings drooped and his legs shook. He had already taken too many hits. Mira saw it. She felt it. If something didn't change now, they would lose. Aaron stepped out from behind her. His small body shook, but his eyes burned with courage. Father, I'm here. Draven turned his head slightly, fear in his eyes. Aaron, no, it's too dangerous. But I can help, Aaron said. I can't let you fight alone. The soldiers moved closer, their machines charging with bright light. Mira looked at Aaron, then at Draven, and made a choice. She stepped beside them both. We do this together, she said. Another soldier aimed. Mira grabbed a broken metal pole from the floor. She didn't know how to fight, but she could protect Aaron. She could defend Draven. She lifted the pole like a staff and stood firm. The soldier fired, but Aaron reacted first. A soft golden light rose from the boy's chest and spread around him like a warm shield. The attack struck the light and vanished. Draven stared in shock. Your power has awakened. Aaron breathed fast, surprised but determined. I can do it. I can protect. The soldiers stepped back, confused and alarmed. Their leader barked a command, but before any could fire again, Aaron focused. The golden shield expanded, growing stronger and brighter. The machines flickered. The soldiers' weapons sputtered. The ground vibrated. Mira watched the light wrap around them like a warm blanket. She felt no fear, only hope. Draven stood straighter. Some strength returned to him as the golden glow touched his scales. He looked at his son with wonder, almost disbelief. Aaron stepped forward slowly. Stop hurting my family, he said. The leader of the soldiers tried to fire again, but his weapon shut down. The golden light spread across the hall, pushing the attackers back. One by one, their machines failed, their suits dimmed, and they fell to their knees in confusion. What is this? One soldier gasped. Draven answered with a low, dangerous growl. It is a power you should never have forced awake. Aaron held out his hands, and the golden light surged. It wasn't violent. It wasn't destructive. It simply pushed the enemies away, forcing them back to the main doors. Mira stepped beside Draven, helping him walk as they followed Aaron's light. The soldiers scrambled out of the mansion, tripping over each other in fear. When the last one crossed the threshold, Aaron lowered his hands. The golden glow faded slowly, leaving the hall silent. Mira looked at him with wide eyes. Aaron, that was incredible. Aaron blinked, exhausted, and swayed a little. Mira caught him before he fell. Draven reached him quickly, wincing at his wounds but focused on his son. He wrapped his wings around both Aaron and Mira, pulling them gently into a protective embrace. "You were brave," he said to Aaron. "Braver than I could ever ask." Aaron leaned against him. "I don't want you to get hurt." Draven looked at Mira, his voice soft. "I owe you more than I can say. You protected my son. You protected me." Mira shook her head. "We protected each other." For the first time since she met him, Draven smiled warm, proud, and real. Help soon arrived. Loyal dragon guards rushed into mansion, shocked at the sight of defeated enemies all around. They bowed to Draven, then stared at Mira with curiosity and respect. No human had ever stood beside a dragon in battle or helped awaken a young hybrid's hidden power. Aaron looked up at Mira and squeezed her hand. "You're part of our family now, right?" Mira laughed softly. "If your father agrees." Draven nodded, eyes gentle. "You have earned your place here, Mira, and my trust." The sun rose slowly outside the broken windows, light spilling across the damaged floors. It touched Myra's face, Aaron's small golden spark, and Draven's proud wings. They stood together, human and dragons, stronger than before. Draven looked at the sunlit hall. "This mansion will stand again." Mira smiled. "And so will we." For the first time, the great mansion felt warm. And for the first time, Mira felt like she belonged to something bigger, something powerful, something hopeful. A human had helped save a dragon family. And in that victory, humanity shone brighter than anyone expected.